Good morning, good morning, good morning. I hope you guys are having a beautiful, beautiful day. What is happening? Happy Monday, team. This is another episode of the podcast coming in live, and I'm super pumped, as always, to be with you here this morning. So let us know if you are indeed coming in for this one, guys. We've got a big episode coming up. What's going on? How's your weekend, team? Talk to me, brothers and sisters. How was your weekend? What did you guys get up to? Did you get some relaxation in? Did it feel regenerative for you? Or was it, you're back into the grind, working weekends and doing your thing? We're going to be starting this episode in a couple of minutes, guys. Hit me in the comments. Let me know what's going on, guys. So here we are. So super pumped. I think this episode is going to probably hit for a few people. So I'm going to pop up the episode title here, and we're going to be getting rolling in just a moment. So good evening. How are you, good sir? All right, what do we got here? So I don't know why Facebook's coming up black on there, but that's all good. We've got Tezza. What's going on, my main man? Love that I have you in here this morning, my bro. We got morning. Couple of people not authorized, so that's the reason why. Guys, if you are listening to this podcast live, please make sure that you get into the comments, let us know. Can't stick around, you watch on a replay. Good on you, Zaki. Ames, what's going on, mate? Pam's here as well. Ez is here as well. Ash Sonta, you're becoming so damn consistent. I think I've been saying that consistently, how consistent you are, Sonts. So good. I hope you're sharing these episodes with your main man as well. I know he's a busy boy. 17 people watching live. Hello, Marky Hunter. Guys, we're going to get started in 30 seconds. Good morning, Kevy. How are you? Still the same here. 10 days later. I'm guessing that's Kenny having a tough time. Hey, Kenny, how are you, my main man? Jen Lovegrove's here. Warren Todd's here. Look at this. We got 20 people coming in live to this one. So, guys, I'm going to get started on this episode, I think. Let's do it. On the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back to the Better Body Academy podcast. Of course, this is the podcast when you come for the sick of the dumb diets, unsustainable workout programs. You have had enough of the garbage in the fitness industry, and you just want to find a way to move forward. Now, in this episode, guys, today we're going to be talking about reaction versus response, okay? We're live on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, all the groups. So wherever you are, guys, thanks for coming in this morning. This conversation is about us hitting difficult times, okay? Because at any one moment, I know that a lot of you are going to be in a tough place, a place where you're feeling stuck and where challenge is upon you, okay? Let me know in the comments if that is you right now. Just say me, if you feel like you're in a bit of a place. Now, I want to start by getting a little bit vulnerable, and I almost feel guilty saying this as a man because I know that for a woman, the craziness that happens to a woman in pregnancy is just ridiculous, but I want to start by giving you a man's perspective and being super vulnerable about where I've been at. The last few months have been super freaking challenging for Cords and I. Although our first pregnancy was like super traumatic, with Ocean spending the first 2 weeks in intensive care, I feel like having our second child has been a hell of a lot more overwhelming for us. As parents, I don't know, do you guys reckon we're programmed to forget? I don't know, do you think that that's a thing? Like, it seems to me like the increase in demands that have happened with a second kid are not one-to-one on a linear scale. It seems like it's exponential since that has come along. Is that normal? Or am I just by myself? You know, you kind of think that you're killing it, and then the second kid comes along and you're like, oh shit. It's the same challenges over and over again, but this time with a 2-year-old, with big personalities and emotions thrown into the mix, you're so tired, there's no way in the world that you would get behind a wheel and drive a car right now, but here you are parenting. You know, at times, I'm just going to be really honest, I've literally just wanted to give up. It feels like there is no time for yourself, even when you have what seems to be 30 minutes coming up of focused time for yourself. He wakes up early, she gets sick, your staff member calls in sick, someone doesn't show up to work, and the 30 minutes that you thought that you had to yourself just gets sucked into a vacuum of nothingness. Is that it? So if that's how you're feeling, I just want to let you know that you're not alone, okay? The mission that we have inside of Better Body Academy is to transform 1 million lives. And I've talked about this many, many times because I believe that a man without a true purpose, and for that matter, a woman, but I'm speaking from a man's perspective, is always going to be lost. And when a man finds his true purpose, he just wants to focus on bringing that purpose to life. And if I'm completely honest, I've really struggled to balance off everything. To manifest your dream life and to be all in. And there's been times in the last 4 months where I feel like despite being all in mentally and spiritually, being physical all in is really difficult when you're pulled in 17 different places at once. I'm setting this up. Do you guys feel me on this? It honestly feels like you've been stretched 4 ways at a time. And the reality is the easier thing to do, at least for me, would be to go back, work in a job where I get paid at the end of every day and I drop it at the end of the day and go home and spend time with my family. Literally, that would be the easier thing to do. And sometimes that thought comes into my mind. But here's the thing. Okay, here's the thing. Happiness and personal growth have very little to do with what is easiest. Whether you want to create an amazing body, financial abundance, you want to master your mindset, you want to deepen your relationships, or for me, the big driver is bringing my mission to life, there are hurdles that are going to test your worthiness. I want you to imagine the high jump event at the Olympics. Raising the height of the bar separates those that have done the work from those that haven't. From those that have played the long game and those that haven't. You don't win Olympic gold after 3 months of practice. And I think it's strange that a lot of us complain when we don't have the body, the mindset, the financial abundance, whatever it is that we want after 3 months of trying. Or for that matter, 3 years of trying. If the entry point to achievement and success were so low, it wouldn't actually mean anything because there wouldn't be any struggle. And this brings me to a simple equation. Life equals struggle equals growth. Life equals struggle equals growth. Inside of our mastermind program, we've got a concept that we call life in the gap or living in the gap. I want you to imagine standing on one side of this wild river. The position represents where you are in life right now, on one side of the river. On the opposite riverbank, is what you envisage as your dream life, where you've attained what you want in terms of job that you love, financial freedom, being surrounded by friends and family that you love, and separating you from your dream life on the other side of that tumultuous river hides many obstacles underneath the surface of the river. There's piranhas, there's sharp rocks, there's sharp currents that have the strong currents that have the potential to just completely wash you away. And navigating this river is going to be a freaking ordeal. But your dream life stands on the other side. Is this an ordeal that you are willing to push through? We call this life in the gap because it's the gap between where you are now and where you want to get to. The piranhas, the sharp rocks, the strong currents are all representative of the challenges that you are going to face along your hero's journey. Let's list out a couple of challenges. The friends that become frenemies and start criticizing you. The bills that you didn't expect. The scales that won't budge for 4 weeks in a row despite you putting in the work. And that incessant fucking voice that works like an autopilot in the background in your mind, trying to bring you back to the comfort zone where none of those dangers or none of those risks exist? Who has that voice pop up from time to time, or always, where you're making progress and it's this self-sabotaging voice that says, do you know what? Like, you don't deserve this. Just get back on track. You stay on this side of the bank. If you're feeling that voice, I just want you to know that you're not on your own. Everyone feels that voice. More specifically, I want to talk about how life has felt to me during the last 4 months, when all I wanted to do was work on manifesting this vision of transforming 1 million lives, yet I've got 1 million piranhas that are biting at my fucking heels. Like, that's how it honestly feels. In times like these, you have a choice. Okay, guys, you have a choice. Do you give up because it's too hard, or do you double down because you know what's on the other side? More specifically, do you react or respond to your situation? What the hell? What's the difference between those two things? Well, a reaction is this. A reaction comes without thought. It's in the absence of conscious thought. It's like when you pick up a hot saucepan, you drop it immediately, right? When you dive, when your kid accidentally falls in the pool, you just dive in to save him or her. Or if you're driving and a car is coming and starts to swerve into your lane, you get out of the way of the car. It's a reactionary thing. You don't think about it, you just do it. Reactions get us out of life-threatening circumstances, and they occur when the flight or fight mechanism kicks in. Adrenaline hits, and we're straight into action. Because if we took the time to let the thing play out while we think about it, the consequences could be very dire. A very burnt hand, a drowned child, and a head-on car crash in this example. The problem comes when we react to more persistent, non-immediately life-threatening situations in our life with the same no thought. When we react to things that are not life-threatening, but with the same no thought. When we take to the pub and get pissed, when we yell at our partner, when we slap the kid, or when we say fuck it and just give up completely because of the pressure cooker that is the moment. When we react, here's what happens. When we react, we lose all of our power to overcome the obstacles, and that leaves us feeling out of control and completely hopeless. Does everyone know that feeling? Like, give me a silent head nod or a hand up if you know that feeling when you reacted and it felt like in the reaction you saw yourself doing it and you immediately lost your power. So what's the alternative path? What do we do instead? Well, the goal is to start responding instead. And I want to tell you, my gosh, this takes a freaking hell of a lot of practice. A hell of a lot of practice. A hell of a lot of practice. I can't even understate how much practice. Humans are blessed to have an amazing set of faculties in our mind, most of which of us we just don't use at all because we're so caught in this hypnotic rhythm of no think. I'm talking about parts of our mind like creativity and imagination and discretion and will that separate us from animals, that give us the ability to choose. But we're so locked in hypnotic rhythm that we forget that we actually have a choice. Let's be real, team. Like, shit is always going to happen, and that shit is a test. It's a test. I think many of us live in an illusion where we think that if we play small, we avoid all the piranhas. If we stay in our comfort zone, we avoid all the piranhas. All the challenges go away. But if the depth of the river that we are crossing represented the size of our goals, we know that piranhas can exist equally in a foot of water or an ocean of it. They're still there. So why don't we play at a higher level If the piranhas are going to be there in both, they're not going to disappear, why do we still choose to play small? The trick for navigating the challenges in life is not to kill the obstacles. We're never going to be able to kill the obstacles. That just doesn't happen. But rather, we've got to rethink on how we are going to deal with them. By this, I mean we've got to learn to respond instead of reacting. Do you guys feel me on this? Let me know in the comments. There's 20 people watching live. Do you guys feel me on this? I know that we all know this, but we think that it's something we can switch in an instant and we stop working on it. Let's be specific about my personal situation so I can just completely be honest with you guys. I realized that I was playing a victim. Poor me, no sleep, tired, fatigued, not enough time. But what I'm actually doing when I say that is I'm repeating my struggles into existence. By repeating them all the time, I'm bringing more of it. This is hard, this sucks. And when I caught myself doing this, I remember the old rule, where focus goes, energy flows. If I'm spending all my time focusing on my frustrations, this means that none of my time is going towards focusing on my goals. This is called the backwards law. The more you focus on something, the more you focus on not wanting it, the more it seems to happen. I don't have any time, seems to bring less time. I don't have any money, seems to bring more bills. I hate my job, seems to make me hate my job more. And so I've stopped playing the victim and started owning it. Getting up in the morning and turning on YouTube for 10 minutes and listening to one success motivation video so I can start my day on the right note. Kissing my kids as much as possible and reminding them how much I love them and how much of a privilege as opposed to an annoyance that it is to spend time with them, and getting clearer on my vision for life. Let's be specific about the challenges around trying to be a dad or a parent and running day-to-day business. I now have paid for another coach, a third coach, to teach me how to do some stuff in my business that I don't know or have never done before. I'm trying to put in place processes to help me through the struggles. By the way, to any of you that are running a business and don't have a bookkeeper, get a freaking bookkeeper. When you don't have to deal with fucking expenses anymore, it's incredible. I purchased a book specifically about solving a challenge or a bottleneck that I've got. I've spent an awkward amount of money on getting a new computer and new lighting to be able to do the things that I want to do to improve my stuff. I've changed the hours that I am working to accommodate my new demands because I realized that trying to force the kids to do what I want them to do doesn't ever work. That means getting up earlier and downing tools when I'm meant to be putting them to bed. So I'm not struggling trying to write back to clients at the same time as I'm meant to be putting my daughter down. Amending my training schedule that I get my 4 sessions in before the start of the weekend because the weekends are a write-off. Prioritizing my sleep like it's gold. Let's turn to you. What are you continually reacting to in life that's not changing? Are you holding on to toxic relationships that are no longer serving you anymore? Are you frustrated with being undervalued at work but staying quiet about it? Are you unhappy with your fitness progress inside or outside of Better Body Academy but not doing anything about it, just sitting in silence and hiding? One of my favorite quotes is, it's beautiful. The most fundamental, I think of this as like this is the most simplistic decision you need to make in life. The most fundamental decision a man or a woman needs to make is this: do I live in a friendly or a hostile universe? In layman's terms, what I mean is, do I live in a universe which gives me the ability to do what I want, or does stuff just happen to me because I'm a victim? Most people will listen to this podcast, including the 20 people that are watching live, and it will go in one ear and out the other, and they'll get kind of like pumped for about 10 seconds and go, yeah. And then as soon as the first thing happens to them, they'll just forget this entire discussion that we've had here. And the reason for that is that it feels like life's happening to you, not for you. And I understand it because I'm going through it right now. It's like a fly being trapped behind a car window, he can see freedom on the other side, but instead of flying to the top of the window where there's that little gap that he can escape through, instead, he just keeps headbutting the window and wondering why he can't break out of his misery. It's like, dude, stop just reacting and doing the same thing. There is a way out, but it's not going to happen if you keep doing the same thing and just banging your head and wondering why nothing's changing. Guys, I'm going to finish this episode with a story that I heard yesterday. Do you guys mind if I share with you this story? It'll take me 1 minute. I think it's a beautiful story, which really just illustrates the idea of responding and not giving up. The mentality that you've got to have. Let me know in the comments if you're happy for me to tell this story, guys. There's 7 people on Instagram. There's 20 people on Facebook. I want to tell this story. It's very simple. It's a story of some Red Indians living off the land in the prairies in the United States. Very challenging time. The land had suffered from drought for a long period, and these tribes were suffering as a result of the lack of water, the lack of vegetation, the lack of food across the land. And in this time of desperation, this legend grew of a tribe that could dance and make it rain every single time. How is this possible? The other tribes set the goal to make it rain. If this tribe can do it, we can. And so, some tribes would dance for 20 to 30 minutes, but when it didn't rain, they would stop. Others would dance for hours, in fact, until their feet were blistered and gave up. Some tribes would even dance for days on end, but their aching backs and the ridicule from their neighboring tribes that they were still dancing would cause them to give up in disheartenment. No rain, no more dance. And so a decision was made to finally track down this legendary tribe and find their secret to success. And so the chiefs from all the tribes of the land took off in search of this one tribe. When they found the tribe, they sat at the feet of its chief and pleaded, "Oh, great chief, we have tried to make it rain. We are suffering. We are starving. We need your help. Can you make it rain? What is your secret?" And the big chief simply replied, "There is no secret. Our method is simple. We just keep dancing until it rains." The moral of this story is that if you think that there is a set amount of work or hurdles that you need to overcome and do before abundance will happen, you're putting a timeline on the work that needs to be done. The reality is we don't know when it's going to rain. And for whatever the rain is for you, the financial freedom, the body that you've always wanted, feeling like mentally strong, feeling like you're resilient, feeling like you've moved through the difficulties in the relationship that you're having and finally you're entering a space where you and your partner understand each other, feeling like you're going to be the mother, the father that you've always wanted to be as a role model but never been quite able to touch. You can't put a timeline on that. And these challenges are existent to try to work us to a point where we are strong enough and we've created the personality and the integrity to be that person. But so often we just go back into what's easy. As someone who is experiencing this right now, it's fucking hard. But if we just sit there and play the victim and say, this is hard, this is hard, this is hard, this is hard, we're going to get more of the hard. We repeat into the existence the hardness. If we get up and start dancing and we're tired and we keep dancing and we're spending money and we get the bills, but we keep dancing, quite often I feel like what separates us from getting where we really want to get to. It's that like pointy end of the stick and we're just about to break through like a pin that's about to pop a balloon, but we give up. And it just required one more day. Just one more day. Just one more week. Just one more month. This podcast episode, guys, is a bit of a long one, but in a way, it's a call to action to everyone out there who is knee-deep in parenting, financial struggles, not getting the results they want in their fitness program, despite feeling like they're putting in the work. You can do it, but make sure that you are responding with thought, because it's not a life or death situation that you're facing here. It doesn't need reaction. It needs creativity. It needs emotion. It needs will. It needs imagination. How can I change the way I'm approaching this to maybe change the outcome? Does this make sense? Guys, I'm going to love you and leave you. Hopefully you've taken some wisdom out of today's podcast, coming at you live on a Monday or a Sunday if it is that you're on this side of the world. This has been the Better Body Academy podcast, the podcast that you come to when you're sick of the dumb diets, unsustainable workout programs, and you want to dance until it starts raining. I love you guys.